Hello everybody, my name is Madalina Ghinescu and I will be the host today because Florin Lungu is celebrating Catholic Easter. We would like to share with you a record that we created for our special edition today related to creating a personalized experience for the employees. I will leave you with this video and see you after it's finished. Florin, I would like to continue the discussion that we had last time related to create a personal experience for the employees instead of just creating a personal experience for the customers. So I would like to ask you, what can you tell us more about how to create a personalized experience for the employees, for the leaders hearing us to know?
Yeah, so I think the challenge there is that we don't spend enough time thinking about what is our employee experience. And a question that I like asking leaders, like if your employees would be your customers, how would they rate their customer experience, right?
Wow.
That's a provoking question, because so many times we see departments focusing on customer experience, right? And we have customer experience design teams, but we don't have as many resources towards employee experience. And the challenge is that if your employee do not have a fantastic experience, how they are able to create that kind of experience for their customers. So I think if we only focus on customer here, we're actually missing on opportunities, because it's our employees who are going to take care of our customers. And if we don't create that kind of experience for our employees, they're probably not going to create that for our customers.
So I need to remind you again the quote that we had last time for Sir Richard Branson: to treat your employees better because they will treat your customers better. So it's very important in this situation, if we focus more on the employee and not everything on the client, then we will actually create both. We actually have a win-win situation. We treat our employees better, they will feel valued and appreciated, and because of that they will actually create the customer experience even better. So I would like to ask you as the next question, why it's so important to create this personalized experience for the employee?
Yeah, so it's to have a personal experience. In other words, we want to connect with each individual personally. If we create an experience for the whole team, and I see this many times with sales teams, right? So they would want to create results, and the way to create results, because usually salespeople are motivated by challenges and by goals and by measurable results. So they create a team experience in a way that, okay, let's have a monthly challenge, and this week challenge or this month challenge is who gets the most maybe the biggest number of new clients or the biggest number of book meeting. And while that motivates some of them, what we have found is not everyone on the team will going to be motivated by that. So unless we're able to create that kind of personal experience in a way that we can connect that challenge and that goal with the person's goals. In other words, what motivates me and what motivates you might be different. And if that's different, then one size fits all is not going to work. Some people are driven and they like to win that challenge. Other people, they don't even want to participate in that challenge. So unless we're able to create a personalized experience where each employee can choose how they want to reach the goals. Maybe they can choose what project they want to work on. They can even choose, what role they play in the team. That's when we match actually personal strengths and personal gifts and personal values with what they can bring to the table, rather than just having these roles and having these activities, and everyone should fit in there. And I think that's challenging for many leaders because it takes time. Think about creating, motivate. If you have 20 people on the team,
Yeah.
and instead of you just launching a challenge and maybe have a stand-up meeting every morning and saying, hey, how is it going, what are we doing, what are the numbers, that's easy. But then sitting and speaking with each employee individually and motivating them, that's difficult. It takes time.
And that's actually the role of the leader. They need to talk to each individual in person to find out what are their personality. And I would like to give one small example related to this one. You cannot evaluate a fish by its ability to fly.
Absolutely.
Like a bird, yes. So you compare a bird with a fish. The bird is flying, but the fish is not flying. Only in our imagination, maybe. Leaving the joke aside, we need to think about that people have different personalities, and as you said, I think it's very important to have a meeting with everybody. First of all, to give them challenges, but with different parameters. I think this is important, and the most important thing for us as leaders to know is what are the main personalities, the 4 main personalities that people usually have, because based on that they will know how to discuss with them and how to create the challenge on the team.
Exactly.
So can you, if you can share just a little bit, because I'm pretty sure that we will have a very special meeting only for these type of personalities. But can you share the 4 main personalities? How can we deal? How can we motivate between these 4 personalities, Florin? Can you
Absolutely.
share with us a little bit?
Absolutely, yeah. So at the Maxwell Enterprise, at the Maxwell Leadership, we have 4 different personality types we actually work with in our assessment. So it's based on the DISC personality assessment, and it's infused with Maxwell, leadership method. And we say that the first, or if you're familiar with colors, the red or the D, the driver, type personality, they will be actually those that will be, motivated by a challenge. They are results oriented, task oriented, right? Extroverts. So keep that in mind. Task oriented, results oriented, extroverts. Then you have the I, yellow, is me, right? I bet you, Madalina, too, right? So we are the ones that actually like to be in the spotlight. That's why we are here on this show, and we like recognition. We're really good at creating relationship. So we are people-oriented extroverts, right?
Yes.
And then we have the S, which is the stable or green color, if you know the colors, and they are more the team player. They are the person that wants to everyone around the table to be included. They focus on team results rather than individual results, and they are usually people-oriented introverts. And then we have the C-type personality, which is the person which is really focusing on details. This person is stable, is very organized. They are really good at looking at details, research. So they are introverted and exactly and data oriented, right? Data oriented, task oriented introvert. So we have 2 extroverts, 1 people, and 1 task, right? And 2 introverts, 1 people, 1 task. So if you think about these 4 personality types, each of them are actually motivated by different things. So when we look at someone like the D or the red, they will be motivated by a challenge. They want to get results, but they will get results sometimes at the expense of relationships. So when you have someone like that on your team, it might bring you results, but that might be the person that it will be maybe hurting the company culture, hurting the team culture, just because they're so focused on results, they're so motivated, and they don't, for them, you know, the goal excuses the means, right? Doesn't matter how, you know, I just won, right? So that person will focus on winning, but might lose the relationship on the team. So of course a challenge will motivate them, but if you look at at the opposite end, you will have the introvert, people oriented. So this person wants everyone to win. So they will on purpose slow down in order for the, you know, maybe the slowest person to catch up. They will reach a hand. And, you know, in times of challenges and struggle, you really need these people on the team, right? But
Yeah.
they're not motivated by a challenge. They are not motivated by you having now a challenge and you offer a prize. They don't even want that prize, and they don't want to take that credit in public. They want to know that you're interested in them as a person. So that's why, as a leader,
Yeah.
you
So
need
true.
to speak with the person. Hey, I know for you reaching that goal, it's not actually doesn't really matter that much. But if we're able to do that, here is what is going to be able to do as a team. Here is how this is going to help you maybe, do something in your personal life, like spend more time with your family, or whatever it is that they're looking to create in their personal lives. If we're able to create the link between us as a team reaching this goal and you as individual reaching your dream, that's when magic happens. But so many times leader, use one size fits all. Use one size fits all. Let's just do this, team building activity. I think let's go hiking, and but not everyone wants to go hiking.
yeah, yeah.
So
And then you realize that people are different and they have different needs, different personalities. So I would like to add to what you said, Florin, because it's also important for leaders to know they need to make everybody to collaborate. If the red one, the yellow one, the green one, and the blue one, because everybody has a strength, because everybody also have a flaw, the main flaw. So if they collaborate and you as leader find out a perfect, well, a better approach for everybody to collaborate for you as a team to win the goal or to get to reach the goal, then it's a win-win situation because they are motivated by what they want, and they also collaborate because some people are people oriented, some people are task oriented and need to be in contact with each other. So if you, in case you cannot find one kind of let's say proposal for everybody to be included, talk to this consultant like us. We are also certified in these personalities, and we can give you a hand and can share with you what you should do to identify the personalities of people in your team and how you can collaborate and discuss with them. And I would like to go now with another, let's say, more focused question for you in situations, because I found in my experience with people in coaching, there is one situation that comes often. What should I do in case one of my employee is having a, let's say, unfitted behavior? How can I talk to them? How can I motivate them to actually have a fit behavior in the company? So
yeah.
what's your advice for that, Flori?
So when someone does not fit the culture, or we feel that they might hurt the team dynamic, we want to really get behind that kind of behavior. We want to understand what is motivating the behavior. Now, we
Mm-hmm.
have found in through our assessments as well that we, in different situations, we are motivated differently. So in other words, I would behave and I would communicate in a certain way when I'm the most comfortable, I will communicate differently when I'm under pressure, and I will communicate differently when I'm in public, right? So the way my family knows me is different than the way my colleagues know me, and it's different than the way I will react when someone will really, put my values on the line, right? So in order for us to understand what is driving that behavior, we really need to go behind that and see, because usually there's only two situations. One, it's either someone it's going towards pleasure. So in other words, this situation, it gives them some kind of pleasure, like being the one that challenges everything that happens in the team might give someone some level of pleasure. Or they might want to hide something and run away from a fear. So for example, each of those personality we just mentioned, they have all a fear. That's an underlying fear that is going in our subconscious mind that we try to avoid. So someone could be aggressive or could have a behavior that doesn't fit the culture just because they don't want, maybe, for example, when someone makes a joke first, they make a joke for to protect themselves for not being the subject of a joke.
Yeah, so there is like not for me not to be attacked, I will attack first.
Exactly. So that it's a behavior that is driven by something, is motivated by something, and unless the leader can go and have a conversation, understand, and kind of coach the person, and go, there is, if we go, 4 or maybe 5 levels deep, like the question behind the question, like, so the person, it's for example, it's aggressive in the workplace, right? Okay, so then we want to understand, what are they trying to achieve by that? Are they trying to be in the spotlight? Are they trying to remove competition? Are they trying to, maybe they have an insecurity, that's the way they react to stress? So we want to get behind that. So and then we want to get even deeper, like, is it something that maybe as a leader you cannot do that, maybe you need someone to help you do that. But unless we go behind the motivators of that person's behavior, we're not able to do much. We're not able, we don't know how to help them.
This is another very thin line between the relationship between the employee and the leader, because let's say if I would be an aggressive employee and maybe I'm aware or I'm not aware of my behavior, and if my leader is just asking me some questions, let's say that the leader is very prepared with coaching questions, so they know how to handle this situation. And the leader is asking me, why is your behavior like that? What do you want to achieve with that? I might not say, because I don't want my leader to know about that one. Maybe I have the answer, but I don't want them to know about that.
Yeah. So if they ask you that way, you're probably not gonna give them an answer. And so many times it's not about asking a question, it's about asking more contextual question. I'm gonna give you an example right now very quick, because I know we're already well into this episode. But I just sat with a leader just a couple of days ago, and we were discussing about the behavior of someone on his team. And this person made a mistake, a repeated mistake, and the leader was a little bit surprised. Like, never happened this to us. Like, we made this mistake once, but making this mistake 3 times, it's something is there. And he was asking me, how can I take this conversation with my employee? And not knowing the context at all, I just ask, is it something that happens often, or is something that it's one time? It's maybe one-time experience. And ask, have you asked the person, do they feel well? Do they have maybe any challenges in their personal lives? Because so many times we believe that we can leave our problems at home and that we can leave our work problems at the office, and that's impossible. It's like having a chip and you take that out and you go home. That's never going to happen. So if you have challenges at home in your personal life, you bring those into the office, and vice versa. So this person actually, when I asked the leader and I coached the leader, he actually realized that, first of all, this person, this woman had a really tough period. So every month she had a week when she had really, severe pain. So she could not focus.
Oh, yeah.
And
Okay.
and that 3 weeks ago, she lost her grandfather.
Somebody dear. Yeah.
So how easy it was for us to look at the behavior of a person out of the context. So when he went and discussed with a person, now it explains a lot. It explains a lot the behavior, and this was a one time. It's a coincidence. It's a collaboration of two, influences, like the loss in the family, the pain, all that in the same period, which made her make this mistake. But if the leader wouldn't have asked me and we didn't have looked at the situation, he wouldn't have then went beyond just what's happened, then maybe the person ended like being, not sanctioned, but definitely they didn't get the support that they needed. If we will just look at, okay, this is the fact, they make a mistake 3 times, that's not acceptable, now we need to do something
Mm-hmm.
about that. But so sometimes we really need to look at the situation from the other person's perspective and try to figure out what is driving the behavior without asking a direct question, because many times, of course, they're not gonna open up. Like you said, if the leader asks you, why are you doing this?
Of course,
You
I
say,
won't say
what do you
why.
mean by that? I don't know
I
what you're
think
talking about, right?
yes.
So that's why you really need, either someone, a support to help you as a leader, or you really need to get, great at asking coaching questions and try to understand the person's perspective. And that's what we call, to be a personalized experience. Think about when you are a client, if you subscribe to someone's, for example, email list, and you are interested in, for example, buying, for example, in my case, beer, and I subscribe to a beer newsletter, and I learn how they, brew the beer and everything. But then all of a sudden they start talking about whiskey. And I said, well, a minute, I didn't subscribe to whiskey. Why are you offering me whiskey? So I want a personalized experience. And we do that for customers. We save cookies. We use all kind of AI technology and tools in order to create a personalized experience for the client. But do we do that for our teams as well?
Nope.
I don't think
Actually,
we do it often enough.
I think most companies expect from the HR department to do the employee experience, but
Yeah.
okay, they are limitless. They are limited with resources, and they cannot do that because they have other things to focus on. So you should, as a leader, take responsibility to actually create a personalized experience for the employee. And if I may, I have one more question for you, Florin. How can you motivate? How can we as leaders motivate an unmotivated person? And
Yeah.
I think you will go to the personalities again. I have a clue
Yeah.
because that's also something to
So
think
first
of.
of all, I don't think there is such a thing as unmotivated person. I think
Okay,
I think everyone is motivated by something, but we just don't know what that is.
so we believe that the person is unmotivated because we didn't find the right motivator for the person, right?
On one
What?
side, yes. And on the other side is that, for example, if we look at the personalities again, just because this is an objective tool and a framework that we could use to help us understand people behavior better. But for example, the S or the green type personality, their motivation is to keep things just the way they are and to find the easiest solution with the less amount of energy to solve a problem. So someone which is an S-type personality might be motivated by saving energy. In other words, it's like they might seem laid back or passive sometimes because
Yeah.
they're not outgoing and driven, but their motivation is, if I have this task, how do I do this the easiest way? And they're great when you need to find ways to improve processes, right? But for some leaders which are more driven, those type of individuals on the team will be perceived as being unmotivated
or lazy, or yeah.
Exactly. So
You put a label on the
exactly. So it's one thing we said earlier, that we need to know what motivates the individual, and on the other side is you really need to know if they are not unmotivated. For me, it's synonym with unengaged, and unengaged is actually disengaged. So disengaged is I'm more of passive behavior here. I'm if you ask me to do something, I will probably gonna do it with the least amount of energy I can spend, but I'm not gonna come in with ideas to take on tasks, right? So that might be perceived as being unmotivated behavior, but it's not necessarily that. It's just that the person's strengths, and if you look at a sales team, I just recently actually worked with a sales team, and someone on the team was this kind of style. But the team leader actually, the way he was motivating the team was through these kind of challenges that we just talked, and this worked for the usual salesperson, which is more driven, because usually from a sales team you would expect the person to take ownership of their goals and to fill in their own agenda with meetings and drive results. So when you put a more passive style on a sales team, then what worked before with everyone else, it would not work with this person. So it's just that the person might not be in the right place on the team, and what we expect from them, might be different than what their strengths are. And I think we're gonna have to just round this session up, but I really want to. There's two things one thing you mentioned and one thing that came to mind right now. I think we should do 2 episodes. One will be on the role of HR department. Role of the HR department is almost like when I see an HR, manager or people in culture person, a job ad, it's almost like they need to be 4 people in one. Like they need to be really good at motivating people, really good at recruiting, really good at coaching and developing the leaders, and also to know the law of, the HR law of the country, or the labor law. I mean, you really need 4 people in one.
Like a superhero.
Exactly. And then you expect them to also create the employee experience and so on and so forth. So that's probably one of the topics we're going to have to come back to, because I think this is really going in the wrong direction. And secondly, there was a topic that I wanted to discuss about how do we actually recruit? Like, for example, if you as a leader would see someone as being unmotivated, well, you can only say that if you compare them with how you do your work, right? Or maybe with other people on the team. So the challenge is here is that
your standard, yes, and it's your reality, your perspective, not the other person's perspective. Maybe they feel motivated, but not in your terms.
And do they need to be motivated? That's the question. When we hire and we recruit, we usually tend to recruit the same type of personalities as us, because it's easy to connect with that person, right? And so this is one of the I think John Maxwell's leadership law is the law of magnetism. He says you do not attract who you want, you attract who you are. So unconsciously we hire more of the same, and if the person, and this is a really big problem, because we end up with 10 Florins on the team. If I'm not aware, I'm gonna just hire people like me, or the reason why we work so well together is because we are both and we like to be introverted, we like to be in the on the screen. So if I'm not aware, I really need a well-rounded team, which means I need all 4 personalities on my team. But if I'm not aware, I'm only hiring people that match my personality and connect with me. So I'm actually doing a disservice to my team, because we end up with a team of goalkeepers. If you have to play a football championship with only goalkeepers, I don't think you're going to go that far. So I think this is going to be another episode, like how to actually really make sure that you are aware who you're recruiting, and you compare the person's behavior and culture, and values to the role that they have to fill on the team, not to your values. That's a challenge, but that's going to be for another time.
Yeah, the interesting topic. What a coincidence, because last night when I had our leadership game, we actually had this card with law of magnetism. You attract what you are, not what you want. So I am looking forward for our next meeting, because we will continue with how to create an experience that rather than a hype.
Right on. Thank you for tuning in. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye. Welcome back. So this was the special edition for today related to creating a personalized experience for employees. I'm Madalina Ghinescu. See you next week. Bye.